Man, oh man, there has been so much today, and I truly don't know where to start. So I'm just going to make sure that we start off with a few facts. So a couple of facts that we need to make clear for everyone is that, number one, Director Christopher Wray, when he was appointed to be the head of the FBI, was appointed by Donald Trump. Now, I will agree that I definitely take issue with a number of decisions that Donald Trump makes, especially when it comes to the people that he decides to appoint to very important positions, including this one, because I did have to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. But when I say that you are the least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI, that is real, because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI prior to joining, yet we are supposed to believe that you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. I didn't ask you a question. Now, what I want to go through is to talk about why you are a failure and why, honestly, we just need to tell you bye-bye. I know that you got a little upset and you put on your show for your boss because it seems like you're trying to save your job when it came to talking to Senator Booker yesterday. But let's go through some of your failures. So before you were even confirmed, and I think one of my colleague from Georgia, pointed out that you were already targeting career officials so that you could direct illegal firings. Mind you, these cases that you were so upset about, which are the ones tied to Trump, the cases came through his handpicked FBI director. And frankly, when people sit around and say things like, oh, you know, we're happy because now we feel safe, I don't know who feels safe in this country except for the white supremacist, because I specifically as a black woman definitely don't feel safe. And frankly, my colleagues have been real nice to you today, and I applaud them, but I don't have the same demeanor because I know that multiple colleagues on this side of the aisle have faced death threats. In fact, somebody tried to kill one of my colleagues. And frankly, I don't know if this FBI or under your leadership, if those people would have been caught. I don't have any confidence in you. And if we start talking about the reasons that I lack confidence, we could start with you not just wanting to acknowledge some simple facts. Simple facts like the vast majority of the threats are coming from right-wing extremism. And I know my colleagues have tried to stress this, but I decided that I would maybe do it in a different way. Number one, I have a couple of UCs. Kim Buck, one of multiple Republicans receiving death threats for voting against Jim Jordan as House Speaker.
Without objection.
Another one, Republican lawmaker says she received death threats after voting against Jim Jordan in Speaker's race.
Without objection.
In addition, there was another one from another colleague who now is leaving Congress because they said that they were calling his wife anonymously and threatening her life to the extent that she ended up sleeping with a firearm.
Without objection.
Okay, so here's the deal. How are we supposed to have confidence when you're sitting up here telling the Senate yesterday that it will take you 14 years before you can get the FBI fully staffed to do their jobs? You're also now redirecting resources so that they can go and play ICE agents on the streets. You're getting rid of your most qualified people. And even when it came down to somebody that you consider to be a friend, you were posted up having some fancy dinner to the extent that you posted not only once erroneously, you posted twice erroneously as it relates to catching somebody, and then you want to go and say, let me take a victory lap, because honestly, if it wasn't for parents deciding that they were going to turn in their child, it seems like y'all wouldn't have got there, even though he literally confessed online. So I'm confused about what it is that the FBI is doing except for trying to put on a show for The Apprentice, or whatever you want to call him. The day after all of this took place, there was domestic terrorism that was taking place at HBCUs. They were targeted. Yet I didn't hear anything from the FBI about what was going on. And again, black people kept saying, how did we end up in this? because the numbers are so very clear that white supremacy is a problem. And honestly, I've not heard anything out of you today that makes me believe that you're going to do anything about the white supremacy problem, the one that is leading to children being killed, children being shot, as well as members of their community as they're worshiping in their churches.
The time of the gentlelady has expired. If the gentleman would like to respond to any of that. Well, I'll respond. Kash Patel, as I said when I introduced him, public defender, former prosecutor, top staffer on the House Intelligence Committee, Deputy Director of National Intelligence with the National Security Council, Chief of Staff at the Department of Defense, and FBI Director. I think that's a pretty good resume for the guy who's now running the top law enforcement agency in our country. And we've seen all the stats that he's given to the committee on how much better they're doing at getting the bad guys than the previous guy was doing.
And at the end of the day, what we just witnessed in that hearing wasn't just another round of partisan sparring. It was a moment that exposed something far deeper, far darker, and far more dangerous than the political theatrics that Washington tries to sell us. Jasmine Crockett didn't just confront an unqualified FBI director, she ripped the mask off a system that has been corrupted from the inside out. A system that rewards loyalty to power instead of loyalty to the Constitution. A system that turns a blind eye to domestic terrorism while chasing headlines and protecting the political ambitions of a disgraced former president. A system that shrugs when black colleges are threatened, when elected officials are hunted with death threats, when white supremacists march publicly and proudly, but suddenly finds urgency when Trump demands revenge. Kash Patel didn't defend law enforcement today. He defended Trumpism. He made it crystal clear that under this new twisted version of law and order, justice is political, loyalty is mandatory, accountability is optional, and truth is disposable. He showed us that he doesn't give a damn about criticism not because he's strong, but because he's protected. Protected by a movement that thinks power gives them permission. Protected by a party that now sees intimidation and fear as political strategy. Protected by a dangerous lie that says as long as you say the words law and order, it doesn't matter how much damage you inflict on the rule of law itself. But here's the truth, Jasmine Crockett did what far too few elected officials have the courage to do. She named the threat. She named white supremacy. She named political violence. She named the cowardice of federal agencies refusing to do their jobs. She named the rot. And that's why they're attacking her. That's why they're attacking her. That's why they're mocking her as theatrical and emotional. Because powerful people always insult truth-tellers. They ridicule anyone who refuses to stay quiet. They always try to gaslight the public by pretending the real problem is tone, not corruption, but Crockett is right. Confidence in law enforcement is collapsing. Confidence in democracy is collapsing. Confidence that these agencies exist to protect all Americans, not just the wealthy, not just the connected, not just Trump and his orbit, that confidence is vanishing. And here's the thing. A nation can survive disagreement, even division. What it cannot survive is injustice without consequence. If law enforcement becomes a political weapon, freedom becomes an illusion. And that's exactly what's at stake here. So let me end with this. If you're watching this, if you believe in truth, if you believe in equal justice under the law, if you believe that America should be better than this, then now is not the time to be silent or passive or numb. Now is the time to stand with those who refuse to bow to authoritarian intimidation. Stand with people like Jasmine Crockett, who are willing to go on record, go on camera, go into the fire and say what needs to be said. Because silence helps corruption. But voices, our voices, can still demand accountability. So stay loud, stay focused, stay awake, because justice doesn't defend itself. People do. If you're with me, if you're with the truth, drop a comment, share this video, and subscribe. Because this fight is only just beginning, and we will not look away.